Hey, what's up? My name is Paul Russell Parker III. You might also know me as PRP3 the author. And I want to do a video here today for veterans and the VA. More specifically, do you need a veterans service officer? Now, a lot of people, you know, are getting out of the military every day, or they're already been out for a long time, and they have service connected issues or issues that happen during service, and they want to get it service connected. That way it'll be covered. And one question that I think pops up in everyone's mind is, do I need a veteran service officer, a VSO? Now, what a VSO is, it's usually a volunteer through some kind of, nonprofit veteran organization, or even like your state Department of Veteran Affairs. They should have VSOs that work, in their offices. A lot of states do, if not all. But what these people do is they help you. They'll help set your claim up. They'll help put it together. They'll help write it and word it, and you have to pretty much give them like power of attorney to do your case, to submit your case, and they track your case. So you're wondering to yourself, do I need one? Or maybe I can just do it myself. Well, I guess it really depends on your situation. It's not a bad thing to have help. It's not a bad thing to have someone, who's been doing this for years and years and years with hundreds of veterans that are submitting claims to look at your paperwork and make sure everything's ready. I know when I first got, even before I got out of the military, I was getting out, and I went to the VA office on my base I was stationed at, and I submitted the claim through them. They had my medical records. I went through VA appointed doctors. They call them compensation and compensation and pension exams. So I went to those exams with those VA appointed doctors, and I received a VA disability rating as soon as I got out of the military, and I received a 30% disability rating, and I thought I was good, but I knew I was told, when you first get out, go find your Department of Veteran Affairs office in your area, and just check in with them, let them know you're a veteran in the area, they may have some options or services you can sign up for that can help you be beneficial in your area, like like tell you how to sign up for a fishing license or and whatnot. So when I went to the office, the VSO with the North Carolina, Department of Veteran Affairs, she looked at my I brought my disability paperwork. She looked at it and was like, "No, this is not right. 30% for all the things you have listed, and for what they wrote and found, this should be higher." So this is 2004. She went in and put in a notice of disagreement, which I don't think they can do anymore. But she put in a NOD, and it came back 6 months or so later at 70%. The VA found that they made an error in how they rated it, some of my conditions, and bumped me up to 70. So for me, it was beneficial to go see a VSO. Now, I didn't see one when I did the initial claim, but when I had my finding, I took it to someone. They looked at it. They realized that something wasn't right, something that I couldn't realize, but I would have never saw it myself. And so that was a good thing. So, and years and years and years and years went by, and I had more ailments or old injuries that were aggravated and acting up that happened when I was in the military. So I went through and started putting in my own claims. And at this time, I'd already been somewhat familiar with the process because I did put in claims when I first got out, and I went through the office with the VSO. So I was doing my own, and I was able to get myself service connected from 70 to 80 to 90 to 100%. Now the 100% got kicked back a year later and dropped down to 90 because the doctor who I went to a CMP exam, a compensation and pension exam. The doctor found that it was something was service connected, and granted me service connection. And the VA disagreed with that doctor, and they were working on it for a year without telling me that they were gonna get me lowered back down to 90. And they did. They sent me a letter. They said, we're gonna lower you down unless you can provide us new evidence or evidence showing why we shouldn't. I did that myself. I submitted what I thought was sufficient evidence, and it came back and they said no. It wasn't sufficient enough, I guess. And then I did a supplemental claim. I did an appeal, and everything failed. Everything, they stuck to their guns and they said, you know what, you're not gonna get that service connection, because I was trying to get something service connected on a secondary basis, because a secondary disability is something that was caused and or aggravated by a primary service connected disability. So at that point, even though I was able to get myself to 100% and got back knocked down to 90%, I was like, I need help. Maybe I'm not seeing something, or I don't know what the next step is. I did like 2 supplemental claims, 2 more appeals, and still I was getting the same result, the same answer. So I went to my state's Department of Veteran Affairs, and there were other organizations that I could have went to, like the Department of the DAV, the VFW, the Veterans of Foreign War, VFW, the American Legion and whatnot. But I went to the one I was used to working with, even though I didn't work with them for 12 years, 14 years, or whatever. It was a long time. And they looked at it and said, I see what you did. I see what you're trying to do. And unfortunately, the VA has certain rules and guidelines they need to work through. And it doesn't matter what kind of information you provided. Once it was, denied on the appeal, it's going to be denied forever. You got to do something else. So they were able to look at my paperwork and decide, let's submit this to a VA law judge. Now, that's still pending. I still probably have 6 months to 8 months before I should hear anything back on that. But it was helpful because that wasn't the only, it wasn't just one issue that was denied. I had several issues that were in this new claim. I had some things that were service connected, some things that weren't. Some things I appealed myself and it was granted service connection, and some things were still denied. So this VSO I was working with was able to say, okay, we're gonna I'll do a little write up for you. I looked at your information, and we probably can't get these certain things service connected, but we can get these things. It's highly probable. You have a lot of evidence that they made a mistake, that it should be service connected, and she was able to submit that for me. And like I said, I signed over forms saying that she could do it. And so she's going to find out from the VA, then she's going to notify me. That's kind of how that works. So it is beneficial, I believe, to have a VSO, but you've seen from my own experience, you can do it yourself too, but be prepared, to make mistakes and have to redo things. And when you start making mistakes and things start getting denied, it is very hard to get back on track and get that service connected disability certified. To get something that happened in the military should be covered, but if you make a mistake when you're submitting it yourself, that could mean something that is legitimately bothering you will never be service connected. So that's kind of happened with me with 1 or 2 issues, and I'm hoping that this new work I did with this VSO will get me back to where I was originally, because it is important, to have everything that you're entitled to. If you sacrificed not just your time, but your body, your future ability to earn by getting hurt while serving your country, then you need to be covered by the VA so you can get treatment all the time, anytime, for those injuries, for those problems. So that's why it's important. So I would say if you're ever questioning it, it's not going to hurt to go see a VSO, and they're not going to tell you anything wrong. They're not going to charge you. It's a free service. Now, there are veterans claims agents, and veteran lawyers, and usually that's like when your appeals are denied, you might want to go that route. You might want to pay for it and see if that'll help you on some kind of board appeal or some kind of where I'm going through now, like the VA law judge. So, but I would say before, if anything, get them to look at it, because a lot of times you don't know what to write when you're if you fill out a form and you submit it either on e-benefits, or you can mail it, or you can go to a regional service office, whatever, and turn it in. Now, sometimes if you don't know how the VA is rating something and the specific terminology they're using, you might not even know what to say during your CMP exam, your compensation and pension exam. You're filling out a DBQ, a disability benefit questionnaire, and I don't even think you can fill those out anymore. I think only the VA can do it. Who knows? But you don't know what to write. You don't know what to say, and things might be legitimately there. You might really have a service-connected disability, but if you don't say what they're looking for, you're not going to get connected. If you're suffering from migraines, and if you just tell them, yeah, I get headaches sometimes, and that's it. You don't tell them how many, how frequent, how frustrating, how bad it is for your employment. You might take time off work, you have to go home, you have to sleep it off, take medication, you've been going to the emergency room. I mean, all these different things. If you don't tell them those type of things that they're looking for, if you just tell them, yeah, I get headaches, they're gonna be like, okay, well, when did the headache start? Oh, sometime, I don't know, it was in the military. But like I said, there's no service records. If you're not writing it properly, you're gonna get denied. And a VSO will know, what question to ask you to be able to write a good write up, something that will get approved, because they're trained for this. They have to go through classes. They have to go through certification, I guess, to be a VSO. They have to have, be a member of good standing. They have to have a background check. They have to be pleasant to work with, because if they're not, these are usually veteran organizations with veterans helping veterans. And if you're not, if they're not there to help you, they're not going to be working there, or, volunteering there. So, like I said, at the worst case, it'll be helpful just to let them look at it. The worst case, you do it yourself, but you let them look at it so you know what to submit for. Because you might put in, oh yeah, here's another issue. This happened to someone I know that's very close and near my heart. They had a service connected issue in the military. They retired 27 years in the military, in the Marine Corps. And when they submitted their VA claim, the way they talked to the doctor during the exam before they were getting out with the VA, classified, categorized the disability as something not what it really was. As in, they were having problems with vertigo. They were experiencing vertigo. But the VA put it down as 0% service connected for cerebral embolism or something like that. It was for a stroke, basically. And so a stroke that they had once and no treatment for was 0% service connected. Well, vertigo, and this person is taking medication weekly, multiple times a week for vertigo, and it's really affected them. That's 10-20% right there. That's a big difference. 10-20% compared to 0%. And when that person went in to go get help at the VA for other medications, they were told, no, I can't give you this medication. I can't let you do this because you've had a stroke. So this medication will it'll hurt you. And that person had explained, well, no, I never had a stroke. It's vertigo. Well, they said, well, that's not what it says here. This is not what it says in your when we look it up in e-benefits and whatnot, and what you're classified as. So at that time, that person also was getting out of the military and went to the office themselves and didn't go through a VSO. So I'm trying to get that person to get an appointment so they can get that rectified, because that's something that should be fixed, because they're paying out of pocket for medication to help them stop being dizzy, to treat vertigo themselves, when they should be getting medication from the VA for the problem. So like I said, there are benefits. I don't see any cons to going through a VSO and having a VSO help you and assist you, or at least look at your paperwork, other than I apologize if this sounds crass, but if you're trying not to be truthful, and you're worried that they might not buy into what you're trying to sell, then that might be a time where you don't go through a VSO. And it's going to be hard enough as it is. So I think only people who have real injuries or ailments, problems that happened, that occurred in the military or because of a military incurred injury, those people should be the only ones putting in a claim. There are some people who might put something in that, they might not be too truthful or honest about it. And those are usually easily, found out, filtered out, and whatnot, because it is hard to put in a VA claim and get service connected. I mean, it's easy to put a claim in it. You can just go on eBenefits if you already have an account set up, and you can put in 10 a day. That doesn't mean they're gonna get service connected. They're gonna look for records, and if you don't have any service records from the military while you're in, showing that injury or ailment or problem occurred while you were in, it's already going to be denied by them. But if they're going to look at records, they're going to look at your primary care provider records, that treatment records you've been getting since you got out. They're going to be looking at sending you to a company. Like, I'm not going to say any names of these companies, but there's companies that they outsource these CMP exams to, and those doctors will look at you and they'll do checks, they'll check your blood, they'll X-rays, and whatever your problem is, they'll look into it, and if it's not there, it's not there. They're not. That's so you see that's at least 3 different levels of checks of military doctors, primary care providers, and VA doctors. So if you can fool all 3, then hey, I guess good for you. But even people that have service connected disabilities have a hard time getting approved by all 3 at all 3 levels. You might get approved by, your primary care provider might see it and believe it and tested it and proved it. You got records that happened in the military. You're treated at medical, and they believe it. They saw it. It's been proven, and it might not get approved by the VA doctor because you might have gone in and you had a good day and you talked about your injury and how it is on a good day, on that good day, but you should have been talking about how it affects you, and you never want to lie or be dishonest on anything. But a lot of people, what I mean on a good day is, a lot of people don't like to show weakness or show how hurt they are. I mean, they'll say what I can tell them verbally and what the records will show will be good enough. So when I go in there and they tell me to like bend over for a back injury, or to bend my knees, my legs for leg injuries, they're gonna say, well, I'm gonna push through it. I'm gonna power through it. I can show them that it hurts, but I can do it. And I'll force myself to do it. I'll use my hands and I'll pull myself, and I'll get as far as I can, and that's not gonna be too helpful, because they're gonna say, well, even though the records say that it's painful, like a joint injury, but if you're sitting there and you can move it more than if you can move it more, even though you're assisting yourself and you're doing all this extra stuff, they're gonna say, well, it's not that bad, or it might not be present, or it might be just 0%. So you want to go in there and be honest, be truthful, and do as much as you can physically without hurting yourself. And if you strain yourself, you're about to rip a tendon or something, trying to show that you're not weak. That's not helpful. So like I said, I kind of went off on a tangent there, and I'll have other videos about CMP exams and how to, which type of, disability claim to put in. I'll talk about primary and secondary, the differences, and why you should try to service connect secondary things to, primary disabilities. But for this video, it is about veteran service officers and whether you need one or not. And I would say it's not going to hurt. Now, if you're in your active duty, you're not going to need to go to one, because you're on the base, you're already going through medical, and these people, these VA offices on bases, posts, whatever you want to call your installation, they're there. They know what to do. They've been doing it, and they do it every day. So you really don't need to. But end of the day, like I said, it won't hurt. It won't hurt for if you're gonna retire or you're gonna get out after 4 years or after 12 years. I will never tell anybody not to go to a VSO and at least to have them look at it and to make sure you're prepared and fill it out. And if you have a bad experience, I'm gonna end it on this. If you have a bad experience, there are other organizations out there. A lot of people might have problems like they might use one organization and that person is just swamped or they're not feeling it anymore. They don't like the work anymore or they're busy with someone else or they might not be too interested in helping you. Who knows? There might be a whole list of reasons why you're not having a good experience. Tell them, hey, you know what? I'm going to someone else. Go see another VSO. Go to another organization. See another person. They're there to help you. So don't let one bad experience throw you off. And that's another thing I just listed, that they may be busy because there are a lot of veterans who are getting out, and there are a lot of veterans who are trying to put in claims after they got out, a year after they got out, 6 months after they got out, 10 years, 15 years. I know when I went to the VA once, and I was in there with the vet who was a Vietnam veteran that had just put in a claim for a service connected disability and was service connected for it. And that, wow, this was early 2005. So just imagine, 40 something years or so, if that's how long it really took. I don't know. It could have been 20 years, 30 years, 40 years after he got out. But he waited a long time to put a claim in. And so a lot of these VSOs are busy. They are swamped. So some of them might not have your total best interest in mind. So you need to make sure you have everything ready. You need to have copies made before you get out of your military service records. And you need to have everything lined up and ready to go to give these people, because they might just get your paperwork and quickly read through it, skim through it. They may see you on benefits already. They can look it up, and if you don't tell them what is wrong or what they're looking for, they're not gonna comb through everything with a fine tooth comb for you. They're gonna try to do a good case and get you processed and out of there so they can work with someone else, the next customer. So like I said, they are helpful, but they are busy. So try to be researched in what you're getting into. There are websites out there that you can look up. I'm not going to name any, but you can pretty much Google search it. How does the VA rate this, or how does the VA rate that, and you can see how they're rating it and kind of the terminology they're looking for, and kind of prepare yourself for when you're doing your paperwork to know, okay, well, I was about to submit this claim and call it, let's say cerebral embolism, but I really should be calling it vertigo, that like that past example I used. So like I said, make sure your paperwork's ready for them, and make sure you hold them to the standard that they hold themselves to. They should be holding themselves to. They're working at a high standard to make sure that you're taken care of, and make sure that you're prepared to keep them at that standard. And it helps having all your paperwork ready, all your primary care provider paperwork records, your military records, anything and everything you can think of, buddy statements, lay statements. So when you see that VSO, they're going to be like, okay, you have a slam dunk case. Let's get this submitted. Oh, you don't want to submit it? You want to do it yourself? Okay, you can scan it and do it on e-benefits, or you can mail it, or you can go to a regional service office yourself. I think my closest one is in Winston-Salem, and that's like 8 hour drive. So I scan my stuff. So yeah, that's it. It's a long video, and I hope you feel confident about what you should be doing now. If you never put in a claim, talk to someone knowledgeable, and talk to someone who's going to help you. And a VSO is there to help you. So like I said, whether you want to let them do the claim or not, you can at least go through it with them and get their guidance on it, and then you can start seeing the next step, what you want to do. Do you want to go with them? Do you not want to go with them? So that's it. And I'll be talking about other veteran stuff. So come back to my channel and you'll see. And I talk about other things, football. I talk about active duty stuff. I talk about books because I'm an author. That's why it's PRP3, the author, because I have 9 published books. And but I like to talk to people about things that I'm passionate about. And one of those things are veterans and issues veterans face when they get out. I want to make sure everyone is helping each other. So like and subscribe, leave me a comment, talk to me. I'll talk back. I like to interact with my readers and my viewers and my audience and just people who find information beneficial. So that's it. Appreciate it. Have a good one.